1519, a year that would forever alter the course of history. It marked the beginning of a new era, one filled with exploration, conquest, and unimaginable change. Sun glinted off the steel breastplates of Spanish soldiers. These men, clad in armor that shone like mirrors, were driven by dreams of wealth and power. They were not just soldiers, they were adventurers, explorers, and fortune-seekers. Cannons gleamed menacingly on the decks of tall ships. These floating fortresses carried the might of Spain across the oceans, their cannons ready to unleash destruction upon any who dared to oppose them. Hernán Cortés, a man of ruthless ambition, had arrived in Mexico. His eyes were set on the vast riches rumored to be hidden in this new world. Cortés was not just a conqueror, he was a man on a mission, driven by an insatiable hunger for glory. He came seeking gold, glory, and the conversion of souls. The treasures of the Aztecs were legendary, and Cortés was determined to claim them for Spain and for himself. But it wasn't just wealth he sought. He also aimed to spread Christianity, believing it was his divine duty. Cortés, hardened by conquest in Cuba, was hungry for more. His experiences in the Caribbean had taught him the art of war and the value of alliances. He knew that to succeed in this new land he would need both strength and cunning. He looked upon the unknown land with a mix of greed and fervent zeal. The coastline stretched out before him, a land of mystery and promise. To Cortés it was a blank canvas upon which he could paint his legacy. The Spaniards, though few in number, possessed horses and firearms. These tools of war gave them a significant advantage over the indigenous peoples. The sight of mounted soldiers and the sound of gunfire were both awe-inspiring and terrifying to the natives. These were wonders unseen by the natives. The indigenous peoples had never encountered such technology, and it left them both curious and fearful. The Spaniards' arrival marked the beginning of a new and tumultuous chapter in their history. They brought with them diseases that would soon ravage the land. Smallpox, measles, and other illnesses spread like wildfire, decimating entire communities. The impact of these diseases was catastrophic, weakening the indigenous resistance and paving the way for Spanish domination. They came not just as conquerors, but as harbingers of chaos. The arrival of the conquistadors disrupted the existing order, leading to conflict, upheaval, and the eventual fall of great civilizations. The legacy of their arrival is one of both tragedy and transformation. Deep in the Mexican valley lay Tenochtitlan, the Aztec capital. This city was a marvel of engineering and urban planning, built on an island in the middle of Lake Texcoco. The Aztecs transformed the swampy lake into a thriving metropolis with a network of canals that crisscrossed the city, serving as both transportation routes and irrigation channels. The ingenuity of the Aztecs in creating this city was nothing short of extraordinary. An island city of canals and causeways, it was an awe-inspiring sight. The causeways connected Tenochtitlan to the mainland, allowing for the movement of people and goods. These causeways were wide enough to accommodate 10 men walking abreast, showcasing the grandeur and scale of Aztec architecture. The city was a bustling hub of activity, with boats gliding through the canals, carrying everything from food to building materials. Pyramids soared into the sky, dwarfing the Spanish ships. The Great Pyramid of Tenochtitlan, also known as the Templo Mayor, was the centerpiece of the city. It was dedicated to the gods Huitzilopochtli and Tlaloc, and its twin temples stood as a testament to the Aztecs' religious devotion and architectural prowess. The pyramid was a place of worship, sacrifice, and ceremony where the Aztecs sought to appease their gods and ensure the prosperity of their empire. Markets bustled with exotic goods and the murmur of thousands of voices. The Tlatelolco market was the largest in the city, attracting merchants and buyers from all over the Aztec Empire and beyond. Here one could find a dazzling array of products, from precious stones and metals to food, textiles, and pottery. The market was not only a place of commerce, but also a social hub where people gathered to exchange news and stories. The Aztecs, fierce warriors and skilled craftsmen, had built an empire on war and tribute. Their military prowess was unmatched, and they expanded their territory through conquest and alliances. The tribute collected from conquered peoples fueled the growth of Tenochtitlan, providing the resources needed to build and maintain the city. Aztec artisans were renowned for their craftsmanship, creating intricate jewelry, pottery, and textiles that were highly prized. Their emperor, Montezuma, ruled from a throne of gold and obsidian. Montezuma was a powerful and revered leader, known for his wisdom and authority. He presided over a complex and hierarchical society where nobles, priests, and warriors played crucial roles. Montezuma's palace was a symbol of his power, filled with treasures and adorned with intricate carvings and murals that depicted the history and mythology of the Aztec people. But beneath the surface of this powerful empire lurked unease. Despite their achievements, the Aztecs were plagued by internal strife and external threats. Factions within the empire vied for power, and the constant need for human sacrifices to appease the gods created a climate of fear and tension. The arrival of the Spaniards would soon exacerbate these issues, leading to the eventual downfall of Tenochtitlan. Omens and prophecies whispered of impending doom. The Aztecs believed in a cyclical view of time where the end of one era would give way to the beginning of another. They saw signs in the natural world and interpreted them as messages from the gods. Comets, eclipses, and other celestial events were seen as harbingers of change, and many believed that the arrival of the Spaniards was foretold in these ancient prophecies. The arrival of the Spaniards, with their strange weapons and alien appearance, seemed to confirm these dark premonitions. The Aztecs were initially unsure how to respond to these newcomers, who seemed to possess supernatural powers. The Spaniards, led by Hernán Cortés, were determined to conquer the Aztec Empire and claim its riches for themselves. The clash between these two cultures would ultimately lead to the fall of Tenochtitlan and the end of the Aztec civilization. The Aztecs initially were unsure how to perceive these strange newcomers. Were they gods, demons, or something else entirely? Their pale skin and thundering weapons suggested a power beyond human comprehension. Montezuma, caught between curiosity and fear, hesitated to act. He sent emissaries bearing gifts of gold and feathers, hoping to understand their intentions. These were meant to appease or perhaps delay the strangers. The Spaniards, blinded by their own greed, saw only the gold. The gifts, intended as gestures of caution, were interpreted as signs of weakness. This miscalculation would have devastating consequences for the Aztecs. Cortés, cunning and ruthless, sensed opportunity. He was a man driven by ambition and an insatiable desire for glory and wealth. His eyes were set on the vast riches of the Aztec Empire, and he knew that brute force alone would not be enough to conquer such a formidable civilization. Instead, he relied on his sharp intellect and strategic mind to find cracks within the empire's foundation. He exploited divisions within the Aztec Empire. The Aztecs, though powerful, ruled over a vast and diverse territory filled with various tribes and peoples, many of whom harbored deep-seated resentments against their overlords. Cortés saw these internal conflicts as the perfect opportunity to weaken the Aztecs' grip from within. Many native tribes chafed under Aztec rule. They were burdened with heavy tributes and subjected to harsh treatment. The Aztecs demanded not only goods and services, but also human sacrifices, which fueled fear and hatred among the subjugated tribes. This discontent was a fertile ground for Cortés to sow the seeds of rebellion. Cortés promised them freedom and revenge. He approached the leaders of these tribes with promises of liberation from the oppressive Aztec rule. He painted a picture of a new era where they could reclaim their autonomy and live without fear. His words were persuasive, and many native leaders saw an opportunity to change their fate. He forged alliances, promising to liberate them from their Aztec overlords. These alliances were not just strategic, but also symbolic. They represented a united front against a common enemy. The native tribes, once divided and weakened, now found strength in their unity with the Spanish forces. These alliances would prove crucial in the coming conflict. The combined forces of the Spanish and their native allies created a formidable army. They shared knowledge, resources, and strategies, preparing meticulously for the battles that lay ahead. The stage was set for a monumental clash. The stage was set for a clash of civilizations. The Spanish, with their advanced weaponry and military tactics, stood in stark contrast to the Aztec warriors, who were fierce and deeply rooted in their traditions. The impending conflict was not just a battle for territory, but a struggle between two vastly different worlds. On one side, the mighty Aztec Empire, confident in its strength and traditions. The Aztecs had built a powerful and sophisticated society with grand temples, intricate art, and a well-organized military. They believed in the invincibility of their empire and the favor of their gods. On the other, a small band of Spanish conquistadors driven by ambition, greed, and a thirst for conquest. Despite their smaller numbers, the Spanish were relentless and resourceful. They were motivated by the promise of untold riches and the glory of expanding the Spanish Empire. The Aztecs, unaware of the true extent of Spanish ambition, had welcomed a serpent into their midst. They saw the Spanish as potential allies or, at worst, minor threats. Little did they know that these newcomers harbored plans that would lead to their downfall. A serpent that, with each passing day, coiled tighter around their empire. Cortés and his men meticulously plotted their moves, gaining the trust of the Aztecs while secretly preparing for their eventual betrayal. The tension grew as the Spanish tightened their grip. The clash was inevitable, and the outcome would forever alter the course of history. The battles that ensued were fierce and brutal, with both sides fighting valiantly. However, the alliances Cortés had forged and the strategic advantages of the Spanish would tip the scales, leading to a dramatic and world-changing conclusion.